Welcome to the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a show that is a central hub and safe space for authors to share their stories. The Bold Book with Dr. Denise begins now.
Hello. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Bold Book of the Day. My name is Dr. Denise Nicholson, and this podcast is for anyone looking for inspiration. Today's episode is with Miss Patricia Greenberg. Welcome.
Thank you, Denise. So thrilled to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here. You wrote the book, Eat Well, Live Well, and Age Well. And girl, I'm in my 50s now, so please share some concepts outlined in your book for living well and aging well.
Well, you know, Denise, it's a bottomless pit of information, right? When we talk about eating well, living well, and aging well. And I've narrowed it down first to about 10 steps. Now I've got it to the 5 top tips. And it still will take us some time to go through, but it's so important to just make yourself count, make yourself come first. Take a look at the proverbial putting on your mask first, because the only way you're going to be good to anybody else is if you love yourself first and take care of yourself first.
Preach.
So the thing I always like to say starting out is every decision you make throughout your life is just a decision. We don't know if it's a good decision or a bad decision until after the fact. So the one thing I tell everybody about eating well, living well, and aging well is just starting in today. It doesn't matter what you did before, because yes, there's a cumulative effect of the way you've lived your life, but knowing there's nothing you can do about it, you can't go back and you can't change anything. Just let it go into the universe and say, thank you, God, that I'm here today. And what can I do going forward to make my life better? So that's the first premise with absolutely everything you do in your life.
Yes.
So when you go, we could start with saying food. That's another bottomless pit of information, right? That there's too much information in a sense. So every time,
And sometimes we feel boggled down because sometimes the studies say eat this and drink some red wine, and then it says no, don't do that and don't drink wine, and I'm like, wait a minute, we just had several articles that said eat these things and drink this thing, and so yes, give us some guidance.
yeah, so we
Please.
can start with the eat well. Okay, so
Yes.
that is a very, very important thing to understand, is that the confusion and the baffling information out there. One thing we do know universally, and no organizations are at odds, is that we should have a predominantly plant-based diet. This does not mean to be vegan, 100% vegetarian, go home and throw out all the meat in your refrigerator. What this means is to get an adequate, varied amount of fruits and vegetables in your diet every single day. Now, regardless of your background, your culture, your preferences, your tastes, where you live throughout the country or throughout the world, fruits and vegetables are key. They're the building blocks. That's the foundation for any meal. Whether it's sitting down to a meal or you're running out to go somewhere, stick a banana, stick an apple, stick an orange, stick a little bag of celery and carrots or peppers in your bag, just that little bit. So if you want to go and indulge at a fast food restaurant, or you're going out to eat for a celebratory meal, which again is perfectly fine, just make sure there's some vegetables in that meal. So that's the easiest way I can tell you, is that the basis is fruits and vegetables at some point throughout the day.
Yes.
Post-pandemic, I don't know so much that we're post-pandemic. There's still some remnants of the pandemic, but
Yes, there
one
is.
of the things we learned throughout the pandemic is the immune system is boosted by fruits and vegetables, but primarily, interestingly enough, between by oranges and apples. So an apple a day keeps the doctor away it's an old adage, but it still holds true. So somewhere in your day, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or you're feeling like a little dessert, have an apple, have an orange on hand once a day, and it'll make all the difference in the world. Where the other issue that we are all finding ourselves, especially as we age, I can't put a number on it. You know, over 50 is the concern of aging nowadays. That's kind of the line of demarcation. But even in your 30s and 20s, I encourage my 22-year-old daughter, drink tons of water.
Yes.
And don't obsess. I will be the first to tell you I do it. I have the big bottle on my desk and I try to finish it throughout the day. If you can't get to it, you can't get to it, but always have a glass of water or a bottle of water on hand. I've gotten in the habit of throwing a couple of bottles of water in my car so that
Yeah.
I'm out and I feel like I need a glass of water. I have it on hand, the 8 ounce or the 12 ounce. So the combination of fruits and vegetables, which have high water content and a lot of water, is the basis. Anything you eat above and beyond that, there's more variables there, which kind of circles. I'll talk about fitness in a second, but I want to
Yeah.
circle into weight. There is some new, hopefully, I call it fantastic information about your weight. We're learning now it's not so much how much you weigh, it's how much it's distributed throughout your body and how much you can work with it, if that makes sense.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. I tell people all the time when they see me that, they'll say, "Oh, you look so great." And I'm like, I'm 160 pounds. And they're like, "What? How?" Yeah. But it's how it's distributed because of
Distributed.
everything else, different things. My height, is one of the reasons why I don't look like I'm overweight. And I don't think I'm overweight, but I do the numbers, you just can't look at the numbers by themselves.
The numbers can be upsetting, but what's more important about your body composition is your measurements. It's a little
Yes.
bit old school, and a lot of people have bucked me on this one because the BMI, it's the
Yeah.
body measurement index, is the weight height ratio. And it's just a
Mm-hmm.
range. It's sort of like the old school insurance charts that tell you at this height you can weigh within this range. And I'm
Yeah.
bringing this up to make people understand there's so much variable in what you weigh. For men, we like to keep the waist at 40 inches or less,
Mm-hmm.
and for women, 35 or less. So once a woman's waist size goes above 35, there's a direct correlation with an increased risk of breast cancer, heart disease, and other related maladies, diabetes, etc.
Yeah.
So get that tape, go to a craft store, get that tape measurer and have it in your room and pay attention to your weight. If you gain more than 10 pounds very rapidly or you lose more than 10 pounds very rapidly, that's a sign that there's something going on in your body. If over
Yes.
the course of a lifetime, when you were 18 and you weighed a certain amount, now you're 25, 30 pounds more than what you weighed when you were 18, there's certain distribution factors that go in with your weight, but it's that waist circumference that's critical to keep your
Yes.
risk of heart disease, diabetes down. If you're pre-diabetic or it's running in your family, even more so, that you want to keep that waist circumference from not over, superseding the rest of your body. A little
Yes.
bit of weight here and there. Now, here's the conundrum with weight, Denise. This is fascinating. And I want to tell you, I consulted, I kid you not, 5 cardiologists to make sure that this was accurate.
Okay.
Women do better later in life with a little extra weight on them.
Oh,
So
good, good,
yes,
good.
yes, yes. It's what we call the weight conundrum. Why are we
Mm-hmm.
telling everybody, driving everybody nuts, stay thin, stay thin, stay thin? And then when women get into their 50s, that extra 10 or even 15 is a lifesaver.
Oh, good.
So women who have heart disease and certain cancers, breast cancer in particular, we talk about the women's, the GYN and the breast cancers,
Mm-hmm.
with a little bit of weight, do better. Too much weight, absolutely not. Once you get over
Right.
that, but that 15-pound mark of a little bit more than what you weighed when you were young and slender is actually a lifesaver. For men, it's
I
not. For
just
men, as
I
they
just
gain
saw a
weight,
woman,
okay,
104 years old,
go
and
ahead.
she wasn't overweight, and she had a little bit of meat on her, and she was 104 years old, and I was like, I
Wow.
wonder if that makes a difference as you age. And here you are,
There is a
dispelling the myth of skinniness.
yes, and I will tell you, and I'm not going to use technical terms here. I'm going to say frail. We use the term frail. As you get
Mm,
older, your bones, your bone density can diminish. Your muscle mass certainly diminishes. The
yeah.
icky term for it is called sarcopenia, and that just means muscle loss. So
Hmm.
the two or three things we want to do with age for sure is keep your muscles strong and keep your bones strong. And a little extra weight on your body will help you do that. So, what's the tie in to fitness? So, the tie in to fitness is that, Denise, whatever you do, whether you walk, whether you go to the gym, whether you're climbing mountains and running marathons, playing pickleball. It's movement. And why we now know, this, we're going back to such basics. If you're old enough to remember when, life was simpler, the younger people don't remember when going out for a walk or playing outside was just the thing to do.
Yes.
There wasn't so much emphasis on how long, how much, how many hours, what's your metabolic rate. It's just going out and play. So
Yes.
walking is the number one exercise to help all of us as we age. I'll tell you why. There's something called proprioception. If you haven't heard that term, or the listeners haven't heard that term, proprioception is your sense of your place in the world. So it has everything to do with how you feel when you stand upright, your depth perception, how far things seem away from you. Peripheral vision is a perfect example. So if you put your arms out, can you see yourself wiggling your hands when you're looking straight? It's your perception of where you are in space. With age, that diminishes. Denise, how many times have you seen an older person get to the end of a sidewalk and they just fall? And you say, didn't they see that 6-inch curb there? No, they didn't, because their
No.
depth perception and their sense of space is diminished. And what
Yes.
keeps that alive and working and moving is walking. Walking forces your body upright. You look back and forth. You have to pay attention to what's going on around you. It activates the digestive system because you're up and you're moving. And your brain has to work because your brain has to say, okay, move the legs, move the arms, move the head back and forth. And the whole mechanism and the whole beautiful machinery that works together just when you're walking is extraordinary. Secondly, when you're walking, what's the best way to walk? Outdoors, looking at trees. If you're a city dweller, if you're in cold weather, you might be forced to stay indoors a little bit more, but any kind of nature will do. Plants in the house, just taking, whether it's a walk around your neighborhood or if you're in the city, please also do it with another person. I have 3 reasons for that. One is engaging your body by being upright is critical. Engaging with other people is critical. So if you have a walking buddy or somebody, whether it's a family member or a friend, you go out, you feel safe, you have somebody with you. B, you have somebody to talk to, and your body is being activated by having someone else around. So you see all the wonderful benefits of just physically of just going for a walk with a friend. It's amazing, and we're learning more and more. I have a friend who's a MD, and he
Mm-hmm.
specializes in how nature heals us. And one of the things he told me was that even if you have fake plants in your house, the greenery, and he says, name your plants. If you have a basil plant in your kitchen, name it. Make that plant your friend. The plant will
Mm-hmm.
flourish and you will as well. So I just find that I'll talk a little bit more about some tips
Interesting
you do,
to
but
name the plans. I guess you have
name
to
the
share with
plant.
me why. Yeah, share with us eventually. I'm not gonna throw you off.
Naming the plant gives you a relationship with something that's healing you. And it gives you um, someone might look at you and say, that woman's nuts. She's talking to her basil plant. I
Mm-hmm.
don't stand in my kitchen and talk to my basil plant, but I named my basil plant Bella, and I, shared it with people. I said, I have some herbs in the kitchen, and I'm a brown thumb. I kill everything I try to grow. And my mother was a green thumb. Everything she touched, we had plants and trees, all indoor, all the indoor plants, they grew beautifully. And I learned now it's releasing oxygen and it's absorbing your carbon dioxide. So there's a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
symbiotic relationship going on with you and your plants. If you could get to the woods, if you could get out and look at trees, tree hugging was always made fun of, but there's something very real in that. It's
Yes.
amazing. Yeah.
Let me tell you, I just went to, where were we? In Zimbabwe with
Oh,
a group. I do an annual retreat, and this year we went to South Africa and Zimbabwe. And when we went to see the animals, um, uh, where what was it called? I forget the name of the place that we went to. But anyway, we went gaming and we were looking at some animals, and we had an opportunity to do a little picnic off the side. And there was a big old tree, and I was like, guys, here is the opportunity to hug a tree and really embrace nature in this great opportunity. You never know who has been there, what has happened there, and the energy that this tree has to transfer into you. And we took pictures. It was one of the best feeling, just hugging that tree and feeling that closest. And here you are saying, that it is a wonderful thing. It's more than wonderful. It is healing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what's interesting is that it was always made fun of, and that person was a hippie and that person was nuts. What are they talking about? And we became so industrialized and we lost all sight of that. And, we're really coming around back to that now.
Yeah.
I can't say enough about it. Let me also share with you, we alluded to alcohol a little bit. So, because there's so much more to talk about in terms of the eat well, live well, age well process. There's a little bit of a sparring going on between the American Heart Association and the American Cancer Association. So the American Heart Association recommends that we have 1 glass of red wine a day. Red wine is preferable because it contains the compounds, the antioxidants that's good for your heart health. White wine is okay also, but the preference is red. You can also find it in pomegranate juice, cherry juice, grape juice. So if you can't have alcohol for any reason, or it's, contraindicated, you can get it through the dark red fruit juices. When I look at the statistics of the Mediterranean countries who drink red wine with every meal, they live the longest. Now, and the recommendation is 1 glass of red wine, 1 12-ounce glass of beer, or 1 shot of whiskey, whatever the hard liquor. I call it hard liquor, schnapps, whatever term you want to give it to, a little, evening nip. Okay, it's all good because it has a relaxant effect. A very, very small amount will help you sleep. American Cancer Society comes along and says alcohol is a neurotoxin. And by drinking it, you could be exacerbating your cancer. So, Denise, it is so complicated. If you're young and you have an aggressive cancer, you absolutely shouldn't have any alcohol. If you're older and you have something that's slow growing, or you don't, it's okay once in a while. So, is there good and bad in everything? Absolutely. It's on an individual basis.
Yes.
I, as a nutritionist and as a woman in my 60s, and someone who's seen a lot, but in the medical field, I recommend red wine or a glass of beer or a drink a couple days a week, or make it a Friday night treat. I do not recommend having alcohol every single day. There is a cumulative effect.
Not that I drink alcohol every day, but thank you for recommending that to the audience, that we don't have to drink alcohol every day, but you can still get the benefits of the red wine. There is something in that red wine, though, that really helps us as we age, right?
It's called resveratrol, and it's a compound that actually protects the lining of the arteries. So one of the issues with aging and heart disease in particular is that the lining of your arteries, there's a buildup of plaque, and also they're not as supple as you get older. That's what hardening of the arteries is as you age. So we're finding certain foods, and certainly exercise, movement, tons of water and vegetables keeps that supple more. But Denise, all roads lead back to movement, not being sedentary, not sitting on the couch. I am an avid knitter, so I sit a lot when I'm knitting, and I'm an unfortunate byproduct of the pandemic is we all binge watch TV now.
Yes.
So my recommendation of that, when you're marrying the fitness to the eating to the sitting and relaxing, it's not relaxing sometimes to be worried about whether or not you're exercising or up and around. It's relaxing to sit on the couch and put your feet up and watch a movie. Okay, so how do we balance all that? I have the hour rule. Every hour, get up and move around. So if you're watching a movie, it's not as comfortable in a theater, but if it's at home, get up just for a couple of minutes, walk around, freshen up, go to the bathroom, get a glass of water. And if you're at a desk job, which is very challenging, many of us have to sit for 6, 7, 8 hours a day.
Move your body.
Every 20, 30 minutes, put a timer on your phone, just get up and take a little walk, take a little stretch. Again, the slightest amount of movement, 10 minutes a day, 3 times a day is equivalent to that 30 minutes a day that you have to get in of some movement. All chairs, comfortable furniture, these kinds of things. It can get expensive, and it's very daunting to figure out all this. So just on a basic level, get up and move around as much as possible. Yeah.
Patricia, what made you? I know you said, I heard you say that you were in the medical field and you have some experience. What made you write this book?
So it's a wonderful question. I started out as a dietitian, which I've since left. I don't work in that capacity at all anymore. And I just saw, to be honest with you, now it's come full circle. But when I was working as a dietitian, nobody cared about the nutrition nor the fitness. I mean, I would say to I was in my 20s and a young girl, and I would say to the cardiologist, you should encourage the patients to eat more vegetarian and maybe have tofu once in a while as a substitute, or vegetarian meats. Oh, that doesn't matter. The person's father died of a heart attack at 50. He's going to die of a heart attack at 50.
Oh, wow.
How,
that was the mindset then.
That was the mindset. And that's how unaware doctors and medical professionals were. And so I always joke, I should have gone to medical school and become an ER physician, because I see all the when I see an emergency, weirdly respond, right? I say, okay, this is what we need to do to make you feel better. But so I was working in nutrition. I was teaching culinary students how to cook nutritiously. So I taught culinary arts and nutrition to aspiring chefs in culinary schools. That's what I did for many, many years. And from that, I just wanted to write a book, a little pamphlet for my students, for them to have for their work.
Okay.
And long story, everything's a long story, right? I got to, excuse me, I got to an agent, and I said, I want to write this book to help culinary students. She goes, that's scholastic. We don't really do that. And we got off the phone, and then 3 weeks later, she called me back. She said, you're not going to believe this, but there's a major publishing house in New York looking for someone to write a book on tofu, and they want the person to have a degree in nutrition and live in California. That's interesting. So I went on to write my first book, which was a huge hit, thank God, and it did really, really well. So I got into publishing. Then my second book was Healthy Desserts. And then my third book is when my daughter became a teenager. She kept saying, Mommy, you don't know what teenagers like. I said, well, tell me, let's do it together. And we wrote a book called Scrumptious Sandwiches, Salads, and Snacks for School, Work, and Home. And I'll send you that along with my other stuff. And it's just a small book with 50 recipes of little, quick, easy things. So again, it gets back to what I was saying earlier. Don't go home and throw everything out in your refrigerator, but incorporate these little bite-sized solutions into your life. These little tiny things. And then I saw, I had
a small habit.
Small habits,
just a
tiny
small
habits,
habit,
little manageable ways to make change.
Yeah.
And I had my daughter at 40, so I was one of the older mothers at the nursery school and then on to school. And I thought, and at that time I was at the height of my marathoning. I ran 20 marathons, 110 half marathons. And I was not an athletic child. I was a heavy, unathletic child, and my hobby and my sport was playing with dolls. So I found this much later, yes. And I saw that there's so many people, these young girls who, some of them were almost 20 years younger than me, not taking care of themselves. And Denise, all backgrounds, all ethnicities, all income levels. I was astounded that age group was not aware. You think these younger people have it down cold because this is what's popular, but
they don't got it down pat. No.
So I embarked on this journey. It took 18 years to write this book, Eat Well, Live Well, Age Well, because there was so much conflicting information and so many things were changing. But as I look back, I see that I did do a couple of revisions. So it's very current. It's 2023 current. Ooh. And it still comes back to that basics. Keep it simple by just, bite-sized solutions, eating well when you can, paying attention to it. And if you don't mind now, I want to parlay into the sleep. The sleep has become, again, one of these things. The science of sleep as we know it now is the cycles, the rhythms that you go through during your sleep dictate how well you're going to feel when you get older. Because
when you get older, okay.
Yes, I'll tell you why. Because it dictates how well you feel on a daily basis. So if you're not sleeping well, you may feel energized. Oh, I only got 2 hours of sleep last night, but I'm just going to plow through the day. It has such a deleterious effect on your body. Your brain cleans itself out. It instills the memories. Sleep is why do we don't even know why we sleep, but how many times have you just fallen asleep because you're so tired, or you sit down to read a book and you fall asleep? Your body knows it, it needs it. And the one thing you should not do is fight sleep. So at
Mm.
night, if you're falling asleep, but you just want to do one more chapter and scroll through your phone one more time, I can't tell everybody enough. That's the time. I'm doing a lot of work on that now. I'm actually exploring the science of sleep as part of my work to really, really learn about it. And I'm a little bit of a nerd on the phone. I have the Apple Watch and the phone, and I'm actually tracking my sleep. Your sleep
Oh,
cycle
wow.
goes in increments of 2 hours. So ideally, why do we say 7, 8 hours? Because 8 hours is ideal. It's full restoration of the body. Denise, do you know anybody that sleeps soundly for 8 hours? I
I
don't.
don't know
I
anyone
don't know
that sleeps
anybody
for
that does.
8 hours.
That's ideal. So if you can get six,
It's a goal of mine.
yes,
Okay.
exactly. If you can get 6 hours of sleep, you're well on your way to restorative sleep, because the cycle is the deep cycle, the light cycle, the dreaming, and it keeps cycling throughout the night. So a minimum of 2 hours if you're taking a nap, and
Uh-huh.
hopefully you can sleep anywhere from 6 to 8. People brag, hey, I only need 5 hours of sleep a night. No, when you get older, that's going to turn on you. You might be
Mhm.
able to plow through. And the cumulative effect of not getting enough sleep, that you're not clearing your brain out, you're not storing your memories properly. This is where we're seeing a correlation with cognitive decline now, where people aren't remembering as well. And
Mhm.
the onset of certain types of dementia come with lack of sleep. Your body is racked. I recommend, Denise, also to everybody in your listening audience to go get maybe not a full sleep study, because it's not a hospitalization, but you do need to stay overnight in a sleep lab. We'll do it at home. But
But
just,
can you just ask for a sleep
you
study?
can ask
And
for a sleep study, yes.
okay.
And the reason the doctor's going to ask you why you're looking for that, and
Yeah,
you
you
could say,
need a referral for everything. They're going to be like, okay, so
I know you're absolutely exhausted or you're gaining weight unexplained.
okay.
Sleep also helps control your weight and your metabolism. So lack of sleep slows them. So you could be exercising every day, eating really well, and you're seeing the pounds creep on. You're thinking, what am I doing wrong? And then you eat less, which is worse on your body. And then you go on a diet and you try to do all these things to take the weight off. Sleep also restores your metabolic functioning. So the three key things are your memory, your metabolic function, and you're cleaning out the brain, literally making sure you don't build up that plaque for problems later on in life. So
Fine.
to not bombard everybody, but it's the bite size. When you're tired at night, where else do you have to go? Why do people push themselves to stay up when they don't have to? Shut the
Because
TV
we want
on,
more,
get in bed.
we want to extend the 24 hours into 26 and 28. We're trying to extend the day, Patricia.
And you remember, anybody that has kids, remember those first couple of years, the sleep deprivation is brutal
Oh
when the
my
kids
goodness,
are
I
young.
remember.
0 to 2, 3 years old. And even then, they may not all sleep through the night, and a succession of it. But this is why it's critical. It is not mean and it is not harsh to make your kids go to bed and teach your kids how to fall asleep by themselves. It'll be the best gift that you can give to them. So when they get older, they have their own self regulating, and it'll be a lot easier on you. So
So
that hard
cultivate
work. Go ahead.
good sleep and hygiene in our younger children because it helps them when they get older. But also for us, curate a routine, a nightly routine, so that we can have a healthy sleep cycle of at least 8 hours.
Yes.
Okay, I'm taking notes, okay, because I'm a nurse practitioner hospitalist and I work 12-hour shifts, night shifts. So
Ah,
it's hard for me.
yes. Yes.
Even though I advocate for holistic well-being and I believe in the importance of, you know, medical intervention and I believe in, taking care of your body, eating well and exercising, everything. I believe in that. But it is hard
It's very
sometimes.
hard. Very.
Realistically, it's hard to implement the holistic part of it, which is the sleep and the eating well and the exercising. And so, yeah, I'm taking notes.
I will tell you, Denise, too, at any age, you can improve your life at any age.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
say, when we get into our 50s, women are going through menopause and men are going through a menopause of their own. Uh, the, there's shifts in your body, there's changes in your hormones. Um, get the sleep while you can. Okay, get
Yes.
everything out of your head about what you shouldn't be doing and what the world is thinking of you.
Yes.
Let's sleep when you can. If you can't sleep at the hours that most people are sleeping, maybe
Yes.
during the day, if you can get in that 2 hour nap, or, afternoon when you're through with your workday, or in your case, maybe starting the workday, just try to get it in somewhere in the day. Don't be so hooked into what time it is or when it's happening. Just try to get it in. I can I can I tell you, cleaning up your life, this is an exact example of the same way you would clean your house so you
Mm-hmm.
don't have dirt around that's harmful. You clean your kitchen and you put your
Yes.
food away so the food won't go bad and you won't eat off of a dirty plate. You'll eat off a clean plate. I
Yes.
like that analogy of cleaning up your entire life, right? Every aspect of your life is being cleaned up. Um, I write an entire chapter. I know we're jumping a little bit, but it's all related. It's one big circle, Denise, of
Yes.
how
Yes.
everything you do and don't do has an effect on your body. So I say part of living well and aging well is having your surroundings the way you want it.
Yes.
You will not become a millionaire overnight. You will probably buy all the kitchen equipment in the world, but you won't become Martha Stewart. You can buy all the sports equipment in the world, but chances are you won't do most of it, that old 80-20 rule. So really, get that all out of your face, okay? Get it
Mm-hmm.
out of your life. Just keep what you need and get rid of the rest. It's like
Yes.
every other aspect. It's religion, relationships, the clutter in your house, the food in your refrigerator. What are you embracing? What are you using right now? And what do you need to get rid of? The things that are painful to get rid of because they remind you of something, or it's a family heirloom, or the last time you had um, a conversation with a family member who's no longer there, it reminds you. There's certain keepsakes you can keep, because there's a very fine line between keeping what's sentimental and what you need to clutter. Very fine line. And the clutter happens very quickly. And as you get older, it gets harder. It gets harder physically and it gets harder emotionally. So cleaning out your life, cleaning out your house, cleaning out your body, cleaning out your soul is all part of the whole package. And
Yes.
I'm not perfect
Cleansing.
at it either. I don't know anyone who has it down 100%. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be things we need
Just
to do.
start where you are and
Just
start,
start where you are
yeah,
today.
with what you have.
Today's the first day of the rest of your life. Does everyone
Yes.
remember that saying?
Oh, yes.
I repeat it repeatedly throughout my day when I'm teaching, when I'm speaking, and even when I'm writing. I throw
Mm-hmm.
it in. I throw it in an email. If someone says to me, "I don't know where to start," I just say, "Start today."
Yes.
Denise, I'm going to tell you something that headline news: stop caring what anybody thinks.
Period.
Can you do that? Can each and every one of you do that? Stop caring what people think. Now,
Yes.
I'm not suggesting you go outside in your underwear. I'm not saying you behave inappropriately in public. What I'm saying is stop caring what people think about the way you live your life. Stop caring what people think about the way you wear your hair. Stop caring what people think about the type of job you have. It's
Yes.
nobody's business.
Yes. And
And
you know what? What other people think about you, guys? I just want you to take notes. And Patricia's dropping some gems here, but I really wanted you to pay attention to that because it's important. What other people say and think about us is really not as important as what we say to ourselves. Yeah.
one of the things in my new book that's coming out, teaser, it's called It's Okay to Be Old. And it's all about acceptance of one's age. And what I
Tell
what
them, okay? Yes.
and what I like to say is that not only not caring what people think, Denise, this is the hardest thing in the world to do with age, but separating yourself from people that bring you harm. Now,
Mm-hmm.
we often maybe associate harm with actual physical harm, or somebody doing something so heinous to you that, there's a generalized harm that comes with you not standing up for yourself and you surrounding yourself with people, places, and things that aren't good for you anymore. And sometimes you may not come to that to a later age, but it's very, very important to pay attention to those signals. With a family member, with a spouse, with a child, we're continually working on that. But you have a right as a parent, a child, a spouse, a sibling, to put your foot down when you feel that you're not being treated well. And I'll tell you where that comes from. As kids on a playground, and we are of a generation where we were taught to respect our parents and respect our elders. No matter what they said, we were not allowed to talk back.
Oh, yes, I'm from that
We didn't
generation.
have the last say. No question about it. Mom and dad had the last say.
That's it.
Right. And very often there might have been a grandparent in the house who really had the last say. Nobody would disrespect their grandparents.
Mhm.
And that's all molded in you, right? That's ingrained in you.
Oh,
So,
yes.
on a very subconscious level. So when you come across someone of your parents' generation or your grandparents' generation who are very, very older, very elderly now, if some of us are lucky I had a grandparent till I was 54. And
Mhm.
some of us are lucky enough to have that. But remember that when something is being done to you unjustly, you have a right to speak out. And we don't want to, because we're taught to be respectful to everyone around us. And that's
Oh,
a
speak
barrier
up.
that we
Yes.
have to overcome. The other
Yes.
one I say about caring what people think and letting others dictate how you live your life. Remember being a kid on the playground and you would do anything to be accepted?
Mhm.
So I always make the analogy, I'm one of 5 children and we all had different interests. So I played with dolls, but my sister would climb trees. And in one instance, she'd be up on top of the playhouse. That was what she liked to do. That's what I would like to do. But if you weren't doing what the other kids wanted to do, you were Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right? Nobody wanted to play with you.
Right.
So now we still carry that around in an office, in a social setting, at a party. You're so scared that no one's going to like you or no one's going to accept you, instead of just being yourself. And we're learning now being yourself will get you further. As an aging person, right? As an
Mhm.
aging person, listen, this is who I am. This is what I'm capable of. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. And what does that lead back to? Everything, Denise. You sit down at a table and you don't eat a certain food product. It makes you don't feel well when you eat it. Say, I'm
Mhm.
so sorry, I have to decline the red meat. Or can I have some extra broccoli instead? Speak
Mhm.
up, right?
Yes.
Don't eat it, something that's bad for you can't have because you're afraid of hurting the hostess. Just be honest. So you see how it affects every aspect of your life?
Yeah, and it's never too late if you, even if you have tried something that you decide, okay, I don't like it anymore. It's never too late to speak up and say, you know what? I know I've tried that before. I know I've eaten meat the last party, but I don't want to eat meat at this party. I want some more of the broccoli or whatever. Yeah, speak up. It's never too late to speak up for yourself, and it's never too late to speak up for yourself, especially if you're feeling harmed.
That's correct. That's correct. Absolutely. I also want to mention that something we're learning now about being alone and loneliness, it's turning out to be a new silent killer.
Mhm. Oh.
Loneliness is leading to diminished physical capacity and also diminished mind. So
Mhm.
we want to share our meals and share our walking and share our lives with other people at all times. If you live alone, I think it's important to try to reach out, join groups, join activities that engage you. If you're living with a family member, that's that old adage. It's better. I hate saying this, but it's better to be unhappily married than single. And I say it kind of jokingly, but it's
Mhm.
having someone in the house, someone to talk to, someone to engage with, will make all the difference in your life. And lastly, not lastly, there's always more to talk about. One of my tips is that, you know, engage every day, wake up every day with gratitude. On some level,
Oh,
there's
like we can't preach
always
that enough.
something to be great. And as younger people, we hear that, what do I have to be thankful for? I'm not making enough money. I don't have what I want. I had a bum rap from my parents. I didn't get what I needed. You know what? Let's be grateful today that we're here, we're sitting upright, and we have the things we have. So look around you and pay
Yes.
attention. One of the things that comes into its own as you age, as your intuition, your gut feeling, whatever label
Pay
you want to put on
attention to that
it,
sixth
pay
sense, that gut
that
feeling.
sixth sense,
Yes.
right? Pay attention 100% and be grateful for that. Say, you know what? My body, my intuition, my sense of things protected me. So it's
Mm-hmm.
protecting me if someone's coming at you and you have a sense of harm or a sense of foreboding. If you go to eat something, even doesn't feel right, or you feel like you shouldn't have that, those kinds of things, they play a very big role in your wellness as you get older. Paying attention to how someone, something, somehow, pay attention to how it makes you feel about yourself. And
I've
that's something to
heard,
be grateful for.
I've heard that your intuition is God speaking to you.
Mhm.
And a lot of times we get our intuition, and because we're not in tuned to it and we don't pay attention as frequently as we should, we we get that intuition, and then we put it, put it aside or brush it off and say, oh, I don't know why I'm thinking that. But that's your sixth sense. That's the light. That's God speaking to you. So
Right.
pay attention to that sixth sense so that you can be led into whatever it is that you're seeking, because your creator will guide you. He will show you the way. And most of the times it's just in paying attention, just listening to ourselves, that inner voice, that sixth sense.
And leave others alone to be, right? If someone's gonna,
Yes.
like, if you're watching someone's gonna be harmed, absolutely intervene. But if
Mm-hmm.
someone's doing something you're not thrilled about, you don't want, you know what, just let it go.
Yes.
Even with
So
your children and your parents, again, if they're harming themselves, please intervene. But if it's
yeah.
something you don't like the way they do a little, leave it alone. You're gonna, the only person you're hurting is you, right? You're gonna walk around feeling bad. You're gonna walk around stressed. Let people be who they are, and that is the key to stress management. Is breathe deeply, relax into it, start to learn and pay attention to what's good for you, and your body will relax. When your body relaxes, all of your stress responses will relax. This, we know about the fight or flight syndrome, is that if you get scared, your body goes into tiger mode.
mm-hmm.
Just remember that I just need to pay attention to what's good for me and get rid of what's not good for me. It is the most, it's like it instantly will calm you down. Deep breath, say, this is not, I just have to take care of myself and look. Can we also, Denise, talk about how it's not selfish to take care of yourselves?
No, no, guys, write it
Right?
down. Take care of yourself first. Pour into yourself so that you can serve from your overflow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. How important is, gratitude and taking care of ourselves and maintaining a positive attitude? How important is that in the aging process?
It's critical because what we're seeing now is that the attitude that you have towards aging, how you perceive what aging is, will make all the difference in the world as to how well you age. So if you
Mm,
see aging as a downhill spiral, that's a horrible thing. And it's just going to be the worst thing in the world to be over 50, over 60, over 70. There's these people, like you mentioned early on, 104 walking around. That means, in my mind, I've got another 40 years. That's a
yes,
thousand
the
lifetimes.
potential is there. So many
100%.
people are living to, being
Absolutely.
centurions now.
And
So
it's a
yes,
beautiful, it's
so
such a
possible.
beautiful, perfect,
Yes.
brilliant question, Denise, because how, what is it, what is all these things, what does it come to? You having a very good attitude about where you are at any time. Can I
Yes.
also say that this is a hot button issue with a lot of people, especially women? I'm very, very perturbed, if you will, if it's the right word, when people lie about their age. I feel like when you lie about your age or you lie about anything in your life, the only person you're
Mhm.
lying to is yourself.
Mhm.
You can say, I'd rather not say, you may not want to go around telling the world how tall you are, how much you weigh, and how old you are. Okay. But
Mhm.
it's self ageism. It's ageist. It's ageism against yourself to say,
Right.
I can't tell anybody I'm this age that nobody's going to like me anymore. I understand where it's coming from, and I understand ageism is unfortunately alive and well everywhere. People are getting kicked out of jobs. People are getting dismissed in the doctor's office.
Mm-hmm.
I want to share a story with you also, if we have time, about that. Two stories, but one in particular. When I was at the height of my marathon training, now this is almost 10 years ago, I was 54, I'm 63 now. I
Mm-hmm.
went to my OBGYN, who I'd been seeing since, my whole adulthood, same doctor's office. He was called away on an emergency, and I got a young associate in the office. It was fine. I was just having an annual exam. And when she was finished with the exam, she said to me, now, now that you're 54, you really need to pay attention to eating well and exercising, because this is the age when your body starts to decline. Now, it took everything I had not to smack her. Now, I had just finished the Boston Marathon.
Okay, girl.
Amazing shape. She didn't ask, how do you eat?
She doesn't know you.
She just assumed at 54, I was in the throes of menopause and I was falling apart at the seams. That was like a perfect example of medical ageism. She just made an assumption. And so could you imagine if I
And
hadn't
that's so common.
It's very common.
Yes.
And also the whole sense of that you don't know what you're doing because you didn't go to medical school, right? Or you don't know, somebody talks down to you at a certain age, or yells or dismisses you. Or you see this in TV shows and people poke fun at it, but you go to the counter to buy something and a young cute chick comes along and the guy behind the counter helps her first, even though you were online.
Right.
These things, they're real, and they're very, very, and you know what happens? You end up enraged. Now that's not good for you. It's not good for you to be walking around fuming. So if we could collectively, and there's a lot of work out there being done right now, a lot of books coming out, a lot of speakers coming out on, if we could collectively get together and say, we're here, we're old, we're older, we're getting old. What are we, how are we going to make this the very best for all of us? That's really where we need to be in the world of ageism. So if I could encourage people not to lie about their age, to embrace it and say, here I am, what can I do, to make this the very best years of my life? Every decade, look for ways to make it wonderful.
And start a new culture of accepting our age.
Yes.
I didn't have such a cheery upbringing, or when I was younger, I lost my mom. And then my mom traveled to the United States when I was 3 years old. I'm from Jamaica, West Indies.
Okay.
And then 6 weeks later, my father died. So I had a rough life when I was young, meaning that I missed my parents terribly. And I got really, really depressed early on in my life. And so now since I have been having this beautiful life full of joy and it has peace, I'm just grateful for every age. As I get older, I'm like, oh my goodness, because, my mom died young. I had several people who died. So I'm just loving every time I hit a new age. I'm like, oh, I just turned 50. Oh, I just turned 51. I am so grateful. And so I don't have a problem sharing my age. And I really believe that it does something positive. It feels so good. You get so many great such a great feeling, and the chemicals abound because of when you are sharing your age and you feel good about it. So try just sharing it from a good place, from a grateful place, and see how that feels and the blessings that comes with that.
And don't worry about the labels, like I'm an older adult. Okay, you're an older adult.
And
That's
so
not a bad thing. You just are. That's the reality, right? I don't want anyone to know I'm old. You are old. If the lifespan in the United States right now is there's varying information, but it's between I put the number 79 on it, but it's between 79 and 81 for men, and about early 80s to 85 for women. So again, if you look at the data, there's little conflicting information. So if you're in your 60s, you're an older adult. That's the reality. 60 is not the new 40. You can do things that you didn't think you could before, but your body's 60. And so you need to
you will feel it. And 50 is not the new 40 or the new 30.
No, you're definitely going to feel it. But again, what you said earlier is you're grateful for every birthday. I too am very, very grateful for every birthday. And get getting those secrets out, like that's the key to living long too, is you're not hiding and hunched. I don't want anyone to know how old I am. I don't want anyone to
Yes.
know, if you let it out, find somebody that's safe to do it. You don't have to go out and scream it to the world, but find
Yes.
ways to release that pent up energy. It's very healthy. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness, we could talk forever. I am so grateful for you and so grateful for your book. And I can't wait for you to come back and tell us more because you have so much to share.
Thank
But
you.
guys, you have to go out there and get the book, Eat Well, Live Well, Age Well. And where can they pick up your book?
Okay, so Eat Well, Live Well, Age Well is available at Amazon. Is usually the best place to go. Amazon
Okay.
and Barnes and Noble, but Amazon is everybody's on there. So yeah. And
Get your copy.
my website is www.patriciagreenberg.com, just like it sounds, PatriciaGreenberg.com, and all my information, my YouTube, my segments, and my books are all on there as well. Thank you, Denise. This has been wonderful to talk to you.
Wait, before you go, there are 3 questions that I love
Sure,
to ask all of my guests.
absolutely.
One is, what's one bold promise that you can share with the audience?
I promise you that if you embrace your age and you take on just those little bit of steps, you will feel 1,000% better. 100%.
Great. Write it down, guys. What's one bold statement you can share with the audience that will cause a paradigm shift?
That is, if everybody would collectively be okay with getting old. Just everybody says to them let's, we're here, we're old, we're gonna do this together, we're gonna age together. And rather than saying age peacefully, I like to say rather than saying age gracefully, I say age
Age
peacefully. We're
peacefully.
gonna be at peace with all of our decisions and everything we do. Mhm.
I love it. What's a bold move that you'd like to make in the future?
I have so many things that I want to do, but I want to start a TV series and
Oh,
have a worldwide series going on what it means to be old. I'm envisioning
yes.
it, I'm trying to manifest it, and that people can all over the world just get on and see these steps that we can take to live a wonderful, fulfilling, happy, fabulous life at any age.
Beautiful. I know it's coming. I just have this feeling that you have such a bright aura and you have such an important knowledgeable background and base, and I know I can feel it that if you continue to share this goodness and all this wealth of information, you will get that opportunity to share it on a broader in a broader community. So I know it's going to happen. Write it down. I believe in the power of writing things down. And so come back and share with us when you do have your television series, or maybe you can start your podcast like this one.
Absolutely, and like I said, I have a show on YouTube that also doubles as a
Uh-huh.
podcast, and
Yes.
I'd love you to be a part of it as well, Denise. So
Oh,
let's
definitely.
let's make that happen.
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna have to book my appointment.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Patricia,
you.
for coming and sharing. And guys, if you would like to write your own book and become the published author that you've been dreaming of, I've created the Writing Incubator Challenge so that I can help you get your book idea out of your head and onto paper so you'll become the published author that you've been dreaming of. Send me an email at authordnicholson@gmail.com. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Bold Book of the Day with Dr. Denise Nicholson, a central hub and a safe space for authors to share their stories. Follow Dr. Denise on Facebook and Instagram at Denise Nicholson, or go to denisenicholson.com. Remember, no one can share your story better than you.